My favorite new brand that I've come across or that I've been made aware of coming out of China, they're available on their own website as well as AliExpress, is Milifortic. I've had the opportunity to have hands-on with a couple of these watches and there's been some significant surprises for me. The quality, the details, yet the sheer affordability of them. And those watches were so surprising to me and so good that I'm definitely keeping an eye on this particular brand. And it's why I've been so excited to get another one in my collection. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches, and I'm talking about Milifortic again. It's not exactly probably the best name out there, but I think when it actually is sitting on the dial, it actually looks okay. It's sort of a balanced name, even though perhaps it's a little bit of a mouthful to say. But what I can say is this is the third one that I've had hands-on experience with. And I was so happy to get another one in my collection because the other two have been such good watches. They've surprised me in both the quality, the pricing, the low pricing, but specifically the details. This brand seems to be putting out sort of watches that have all these little details that grab my attention and hold my attention. They're putting out affordable watches that I think are probably the best affordable watches I've ever experienced. Yeah, I think I'm going to say that. Even compared to other watches that I've experienced from AliExpress, watches like Baltony, which I absolutely love, these guys are doing it cheaper and they are having a similar experience. In fact, some of the details I think even might be better than brands like Baltony. And it's definitely a brand that is worth considering, and this one might be the one that you might consider. And if you do, it's currently selling for $149 US. Now, there is a sale coming up. I'm not sure how the pricing with Milifortic is during the sale on AliExpress. I hope that it is discounted because this brand in general and this watch is worth considering. Now, as I mentioned before, this is the third one I've had in my collection, and it's the third one that Milifortic has sent out to me, which is why you would have seen that sponsored icon pop up, and it's why I'm going to leave some links to the store as well as the website down below. So thank you again to Milifortic, and if Milifortic, you're watching this, please feel free to send me any of your watches because I've been so impressed with all of them so far and I want to have them in my collection. But for now, let me share my experiences with this particular Milifortic. So I'm a bit of a sucker for a military sort of vintage style watch as well as a small second registry. So this one certainly ticks those two boxes for me. As we come to expect with watches like this, they come with a whole bunch of bits and pieces in the case too. But I was talking about the details of these watches, so I'm going to start with the three that stand out to me. Firstly, look at the center of those hands. It is capped. This seems to be a thing that they do on all their watches, and I can tell you most affordable watch brands don't do that, and there's something about it that I like. It just gives it that little touch of elegance or something, I don't know, but I do like it. I've also found on all of them the brushing and the finishing of the watches is really good, and this one is exactly the same. And then there's the leather straps, and it seems to be the same one that's used on all their watches, but I'm not complaining about that at all because it is one of the nicer leather straps on affordable watches that I've experienced. Proper leather, feels like proper leather, very nice, with particularly good hardware too. But the other thing I like about these sort of dirty dozen styles of watches is the dimensions. Sorry to interrupt, I was just hoping that if you guys are watching this channel and you are enjoying this video, and to be honest, even if you're not enjoying this video, maybe you could do me a small favor, cost you absolutely nothing, hit that subscribe button. This channel has become such a big part of my life and I enjoy making content, and having you guys watch and be a part of this community is such a big thing for me, and I'd really appreciate it if you become a subscriber. Let's get back to this watch. And it's almost a standard now for these sort of watches being about 39 millimeters case diameter. It's 11.5 millimeters thick, 46.7 millimeters lug to lug, and a 20 millimeter lug width. And it comes in just under 70 grams, so it's a really nice, comfortable, relatively light watch to wear on wrist. Now besides that capped center sort of section there, I should really learn the name of that one there. The other things that stand out to me about this one, beyond just the basics, because this is a relatively basic looking watch from the Dirty Dozen, we sort of expect this, but what I like is the use of the two tones of color. White printing with that second railway track and numbers, but then all these sort of faux tina sort of accents. And people are a little bit iffy about faux tina sometimes. For me, it depends on the watch. But what I like is that it is used as an accent here. at the main numbers there at the 12, 3, 6 and 9, and the little dots elsewhere matching in with the lume in the hands. And you'll see that it has a dual type lume as well. Those white numbers are in a blue and that Fotina section is more of in a green. But what you might also see if you concentrate on that sub-second registry is that little second hand is also lumed, which is nice. I'm quite a big fan of the design of these hands too, these sort of syringe tip hands. I think they look quite good. They are polished, so they do disappear a little bit on the black dial sometimes depending on the light, but that lume in the center then allows you still to read it. But if you get the right light, which generally is most of the time, nice and easy to read this one. Now you'll see there's a very mild doming to this one here. It is a double domed sapphire crystal. Now the entire case is all brushed, and for me, I actually think it suits this style. I do think it's a little bit of a shame that they didn't put a tiny bit of polish. In fact, if I was going to change something about this watch, I would have that solid bezel there brushed, but then have the lip or that little edge of the bezel there polished. It would just give you a little bit of play. Not that it really needs it, but hey, I need to point out things that are wrong about watches, otherwise I can't really be a balanced watch reviewer, can I? Now this is an automatic movement. You can see the sort of movement of that sub-second registry. It contains a seagull movement. It does also have hand winding, but if we have a quick look, no hacking on this one. I do like hacking on watches, and I think military style watches is nice to have hacking, but I have to admit, if I'm gonna not have hacking, the sub-second registry sort of watches is probably the better one because it's not as noticeable. Nothing really to show on the back of the watch. You can see it's a screw down case back, however. But I think it's the sort of combination of this really nice strap, definitely one of the best in this price category that I've ever experienced. But of course also those dimensions, which has turned this watch into something that is really comfortable on wrist and fits really nicely to my 17cm wrist. I'm a big fan of this sort of style of watch, and I've actually had quite a few from different brands over the years because I just like the look of it, I like the size of it, and I just enjoy the wearing experience, and that has been exactly what I've had with this one. And I just like the little details, those little accents of the Fotina, the capped pillion there, and certainly having a nice comfortable strap has allowed me to connect to this one probably more than any of the other of this Dirty Dozen style that I've had. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you keep an eye on this brand. I'm definitely keeping an eye on this brand. They do seem to be doing something quite special, and I've been really interested to know what they do next and where they evolve with their company. But whilst we wait for them to do that and create some more watches, maybe you would like to check out these videos next.